can hear me. I do have my mic on, so hopefully this works well so I don't have to speak loudly today. So don't mind my appearance, child. No, I did not sleep rough. I just, change of times. Also, vitamin D is low. So, sometimes that have your girl a little low on energy. I'm not worried about any energy siphoning. For those that have tried or attempted to siphon my energy, if you were successful with siphoning any of my energy, and don't mind me in my pajamas, y'all, I'm still in my pajamas, okay? But for those of you that have attempted to or siphoned my energy, I hope you filled up on that energy. I hope it's very filling to you. I put a little extra something in there. Enjoy. Enjoy. Now, collective, when I say that, does that mean that I'm attacking a person or does that mean that I'm protecting my energy? And if people are and continue to remain to think that they will siphon my energy and it will be effective for them and not myself, well, it doesn't really count as me attacking them if I decide to poison said energy. Make it extra spicy. Extra spicy. Okay, collective? Extra spicy. Okay, collective. So let's talk about linear points, variables, how linear timelines. I'm sorry, I'm gonna set this somewhere where it's better. I pray that you guys can hear me. Let's talk about linear timelines, linear points, and what the variables were that were introduced to create linear timelines, aka alternate timelines. A lot of people, because of the Mandela effect, a lot of people, and this was back in 2012, they said, um, a lot of people were very sure that we had been shifted into an alternate reality. You are, in fact, right. If that has been on your mind, look, Two of Pentacles. We have been shifted, Four of Swords, into an alternate reality. And this possibly happened back in 2012 when they so called discovered the Higgs boson, and this is concerning CERN. And what I was telling people, you know what they were doing? They were clashing together atoms, okay? They wanted to smash together atoms using their particle accelerator. They would take two atoms, put them at opposite ends of this, what we would call as a wheel or wheel, like Wheel of Fortune, Destiny. Okay. The Large Hadron Collider. This is before they introduced the Small Hadron Collider. They were trying to, okay, so with the CERN machine, this is a Large Hadron Collider. They would take two atoms. They were trying to find out, once they shattered these atoms, what held them together. Yes, the atoms are electrons, the nucleus, and then electrons, protons, neutrons. But they needed to know what those were made up of. They wanted to find at that particular time the smallest material that actually composed atoms, the fabric of the atoms. They wanted to know what the fabric of the universe was made out of. So what they did, what CERN did with the Large Hadron Collider is they took two atoms, they put them on opposite ends of the Large Hadron Collider, and they fired them at accelerated speeds of light speeds, okay, towards each other, from opposite ends towards each other around this ring shaped collider, okay? And what they did, it was supposed to, when they came together, they would smash together and they would shatter or break apart. And then this machine also acted as a detector, an X-ray machine, to detect what the electrons, protons, and neutrons were made of. Back in 2012, they discovered what is known as the God particle, the Higgs boson. If you don't believe me, just check it out. So, a month or so ago, about the Anunnaki, and a month or so ago, about the Anunnaki, and not so much of our people. They would be known as the new guys, but how do I explain this? Anunnaki are time travelers, okay? So they would be a part of this creation of this CERN machine, the Large Hadron Collider, trying to find the fabric of what things are made out of. The reason being, they wanted to know what made the fabric of the natural organic beings that reside on this planet, as well as this plane of existence, what we were made of. But they are still missing key components, right? But they did find the Higgs boson. So what they did was, in fact, go back when they created this CERN machine. It acted as a detector, as a particle accelerator detector, X-ray machine, and a time machine. This Higgs boson that they found, it allowed them to take this particular material, or it allowed them to accumulate it or capture it, freeze this Higgs boson God particle. This is what allowed them to implement this into a time machine, go back in time, and change something, introduce what we would know as a variable. I'm going to continue. For those of you that are nerdy like me, and this sounds interesting to you, and I'm going to show you the spiritual nature of quantum mechanics, physics, science, biology, things of that nature. We're not going to go super deep into depth, but I do feel like that I do need to put this message out because I wrote this, I don't know, 2-3 days ago or so. So here, I pray that you guys can see that. Okay. Here we have the cell. Let's say this is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. In the beginning, there was a cell, the organic cell. Cells are what we would consider hermaphroditic, androgynous. They are neither male nor female, but they are both. A cell, just like the ones in our body, they have the innate ability to replicate itself, and then for that to replicate itself. And then eventually all the cells come together if they want to have a different experience, let's say as a human or in the physical realm. They all come together and accumulate, and they form what is known as a zygote, which starts off as female. Okay. From being a female, it actually establishes or determines later on as the cells continue to replicate in twos. Twos. And two is important right here. Okay. They continue to replicate and eventually, okay, goes to a zygote, female zygotes. All zygotes are females. Yes, masculines, you started off as a zygote. So you were feminine at first. Get over it. Get over it. And then they later on determine whether or not that zygote will remain female and keep the mitochondrial DNA predominant, or the keep the dominant mitochondrial DNA, or if it will split off and become an XY chromosome, and Y is missing a leg. Okay. So this would be Anunnaki. When they went back in time, what they did was they did away. They changed something. They introduced a variable in the organic state of the divine flow. There are no variables. You know why? Because everything it just organically is. Okay. It just organically is. I'm going to go on, right? Here we have replication of the cells. When a cell splits, this would be the start, the original organic cell. When it splits, it looks like this. Here in the middle is what's known as the vesica Pisces. This is the starting point, or this would be the median. This would be the meeting of two cells, or the sharing of biological and mitochondrial information of the organic cell. They both retain the same mitochondrial and organic biological materials within themselves, and they just become two. Okay, pairs. Listen, Ashay. Now here, also, before I move on, and I'm gonna try to go through this quick because I do have things to do today, collective. But here at the bottom, we have organic cell and organic cell. Neither is better, neither is dominant over the other. They are both just as organical replicating material. Okay. Notice this. And notice I put 2 dots over here. I didn't label one. I didn't label either one and two, A and B. I didn't, right? Because the variable has not been introduced yet. Okay. Now, let's say Again, both organic cells, very equal, very much the same. Organic cell here is then introduced to an extreme external factor that causes a mutation to the atom. Okay? The ribonucleic acid, the DNA that is held in the nucleus of a cell. An external factor had to be introduced to one of these two cells, okay? Which AKA would be a mutation. Okay? This is the variable, but we don't know what the variable is, right? Now here is a timeline, and it looks weird, but just keep up with me, collective. Here we have the organic flow of the atom. The organic flow of the organic atom. Okay? This one. This one's still the same, even though it came second, it's still the same as this. The organic atom does not consider the replicated atom to be less than, okay? There's no variable there to distinguish a difference between the two because they are both made out of the same organic and biological and chemical compounds, right? Of what? The divine flow. The divine flow just is. You just exist. And in the divine flow, there's no one greater, smaller, better, or anything, right? So that means that at some point in time, with the two organic atoms the same in the divine flow in their resting state, one had to be introduced to an external factor that then caused the bumping of the atoms. Are y'all listening and paying attention? Okay. Again, organic flow. So what happens is the variable of that mutation is introduced right here at this point. This is the organic flow. I didn't put arrows here, but I do have them on the next page. Okay. This is the organic flow. It goes on extensively in each direction, which means there never was a beginning. It just is, it was, it will always be. It goes on indefinitely. Okay. Pay attention. Here, the variable is introduced to one of the organic atoms, okay? Which then would have created an alternate or linear timeline. Keep paying attention. The beginning of the alternative timeline, this is an inorganic because it is the variable of the once organic atom is now mutated. The nucleus is mutated, right? So that variable being introduced with that cell, it created an alternate timeline. As soon as the variable was introduced, now we have what is called varying differences, right? A variable had to be introduced. Listen to me now. So this will be known as the linear path or alternate path or linear path or timeline. It lacks the predated organic knowledge of the primordial state, which just is. It was, it will always be, and it has always been. But it lacks. Notice when the variable is introduced right here, that creates the alternate timeline. See how much space is missing between the divine timeline, the organic timeline, and the varying linear path or timeline? See how much space is missing between the two? That means that this timeline, it lacks all of the divine infinite flow of knowledge, primordial existence, and before that, it lacks a huge chunk of the organic state. This is a mutated timeline. I may be talking really loud, but you know. Now, let's say that the variable was a serpent that whispered in Atom's, ATOM, ear, Atom's ear, okay? The variable, the serpentine path, okay? The serpentine path. What looks like a snake, right? Notice that this is no different than this. Yay or nay? Linear timeline, serpentine path. Linear timeline, serpentine path. See how they overlap each other? This would still be the organic timeline, the introduction point of the variable that caused it, a linear or alternate timeline or existence to begin or be created. Now, let's say with this serpentine path, the variable that has now been introduced, because still say the snake, but where the hell, why would God create the snake? You got to think about these things, guys. So let's say that the variable that was introduced in the organic flow to atom, what we would now know as atom B. Remember, neither one was A or B or 1 or 2 or higher or anything. But once the variable was introduced, it mutated the replicated atom, okay, and instilled what we know as superiority and inferiority. Okay. This would be the external factor would be mutating one atom's organic state out of its organic state. And the only way to mutate or change the state of an atom would be to introduce it to a variable factor. Possibly the Higgs boson, possibly something else that they didn't tell us about. There could be stuff like phosphorus, nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, and stuff like that was introduced to one atom, or put one atom in a suspended state after they clashed in together, found the Higgs boson. It's possible that they extracted, they contained the Higgs boson particle, and then they put extra of that Higgs boson into one cell that would be the introducing variable to introduce the variable of superiority and inferiority. This would be known as the serpent variable. Okay. Mind you, for two things to vary, a variable must be introduced. One number cannot vary or differ from another number if a variable is not introduced. And on a number line, the reason why we know 1 is 1 and 2 is 2 is why? Because there are slash marks and or points, okay, between the numbers. Ugh, they gonna hate me about this. So atom, okay, atom A, the actual starting point or the organic, and we have replicated atom, which will now be known as atom B, since a variable has been introduced. And now atom B has this sense of superiority over what he thinks the original is inferior to he. God complex, okay? Atom now he's in a linear timeline. He's clashed together, bumped heads with organic atom, and therefore bounced himself because of the variable that was introduced that instilled a false code of superiority into atom B. He wanted to clash against atom A to enforce that atom B is actually superior to atom organic A. Okay, so they bump heads. Atom bounces out of the organic timeline and or flow and creates what is known as a linear path and or timeline. So now atom is in this linear timeline. Mind you, on the linear timeline, it lacks all the information from the primordial state. See, atom can only, in this linear timeline, atom is missing the memory because now he is polluted. Now he is the inorganic state of the divine flow, of the primordial divine state of the organic flow. It's still within him, but it's so tainted and polluted within him because of this false sense of superiority that he lacks. It has tainted his organic memory that is retained, that should have been retained on this part. Adam's new timeline, linear timeline, it lacks this information. Therefore, his memory is tainted of what the organic flow really used to be like, look like. But he can remember bits and snippets of it. But mind you, the false sense code of superiority is so dominant in atom B that he's just going to make the linear timeline what he wants it to be. Because mind you, the linear timeline has not been created. Once atom bounces out of the organic flow into a linear timeline or path is created. Now I add this linear timeline is the first. It's the first of its creation. That means it's black, it's blank. There's nothingness. Bounced out of the Garden of Eden where everything was and into a linear timeline of nothingness. So now he must, knowing that he still has a piece of the organicness of the primordial state, he must invoke that up out of him to try and use to the best of his ability the memory to create, to replicate the organic state. But his memory is tainted. So the organic state, the replicated organic state on this timeline, it is going to fit more of a God complex, superiority, now mutated atom B. So in this state, he makes and replicates things as he remembers them. His memory is quite tainted. And these don't really quite turn out, or they don't feel the same as in the organic state. They just don't feel the same. But he continues to create it and he becomes complacent. He settles for the inorganic, for as he remembers it, for as he would have it. But now Atom B is lonely, really lonely. Atom, we're still talking about ATOM, atoms. Let me continue. He becomes lonely without the organic companion. Because with the organic companion, as they stay together, they transmuted back and forth new knowledge and memories, you know? It was a back and forth energy exchange. But now he's lonely. He doesn't have that. So Atom decides to recreate the organic atom A, what we know as atom A now. Atom B introduced the variable. But atom B was subjected to the variable. If when the theory applies, because if it was just those two in the garden, what would be what would be the force outside of them, the external force that would introduce Adam to the variable in the first place? Did the serpent exist before? Did the linear path exist before? Has it always been? Was it created, or was there a timeline shift? Anyways, so he wants to recreate Atom A, the organic. He misses Atom A deeply. The energy exchanges deeply. But he needs this new atom, which we'll call Atom C, to be instilled within the inferiority complex. Mind you, even if he creates Atom C, if he creates Atom C the same as he will run into the same problem where he cannot dominate and exalt his superiority over Atom C like he wanted to do with Atom A. Atom A is free from false coding of inferiority and superiority. Let's say whenever Atom B was still in the organic flow or the organic state with Atom A, whenever this variable was introduced of superiority and inferiority, Atom A, Atom B, he wants, I'm superior. Like, oh, you were created last, but second, but you know, this is like, you know, the prototype is always just the first beginning. It's not the best. It's the second one. The second one, the recreation of the prototype be the better one. It'd be the upgraded one. Well, I'm superior. How come Adam A always is the one with all the information and giving it to me? How come I'm not giving it to them? That's because they're inferior and they don't want you to know you're superior. This is the variable, the false command code, the serpentine path, the false narrative. Okay. Superiority and inferiority does not exist in the divine flow, or it did not. It did not. Now, also, I like to point out before I continue, remember two atoms smashing together, it creates what we know as a ricochet, which creates an invisible ripple wave or a ripple, okay, that waves out indefinitely. Because in the divine state, organic state, things are infinite. This means this ripple ripples out indefinitely. So we're going to table that, put that to the side. Adam becomes extremely lonely. Okay. So he wants to create, we're talking about Adam B, sorry. Adam B becomes extremely lonely. He wants to create or replicate atom A, organic atom A. But mind you, his organic memory is still tainted by the superiority false coding that was instilled within atom B. So he wants to create atom C as the replica of atom A, less of the organic, right? But also instilling the coding of inferiority. So therefore, atom C comes along, and atom C knows for a fact that it is inferior because the code has been instilled within atom C from the creation of the false God complex of atom B. CERN, Large Hadron Collider. Trying to tell y'all what the fuck they did to us. Okay? So atoms B attempts to recreate I already said this, the organic environment. Now remember that I showed you guys, we have the organic timeline or the organic state, the variable, the introduction to the variable, superiority, inferiority, alternate timeline created. This is where atom B bounces out of the organic state and into a linear path that he has to, from a tainted memory, recreate it. Cells replicate themselves, okay? Procreate, okay? Now, mind you, that is no different from this. This would be considered a sin wave to some, but this would also be considered the serpentine path. Would this be a frequency or a vibration? The vibration, it didn't even have to be words that were introduced to atom B as the variable. It simply could have been a frequency. Sin waves or sine waves, but I call them sin waves. I don't care how they spell them, it's the same damn thing. It could have been a sin wave that was introduced or shot at atom B of a negative vibration of false sense of superiority and inferiority. So now here we have the same thing: serpentine path, variable point, organic state, and we have the linear timeline path right here because of the introduction of the variable, which I feel like is a freaking frequency. Frequencies do change the way our cells replicate and how they react. It makes them angry. It makes them happy. The higher and faster that our cells vibrate, the more they replicate, aka the more we heal, the faster we heal, the better we heal. When we are introduced to low vibrational frequencies or negative coding, aka the variable of superiority and inferiority, it makes our cells angry. They vibrate slower and it causes illness, dis-ease. Okay. Now notice this serpentine path or sin wave, mind you, Adam is in the linear path. He wants to recreate organic atom A. So he introduces what would be known as the variable of inferiority and crosses that with his variable of superiority. Are we getting anywhere, my good people? Double helix much? Double helix. Okay. Remember, cells are not female nor male. Cells just are. They have the extreme godlike ability to replicate themselves without pairing of another. They replicate themselves all the time. Whenever we have a cut, scratch, or wound, cells are sent to that particular area. They replicate themselves and they repair that area. Therefore, healing is introduced. Okay. So he recreates the organic environment. Now atom B recreates atom C. with the false coding of inferiority complex so he can prove his dominance, right? Mind you, Adam B is tainted, and so is his version of the organic state and flow. So the Adam C that is created is now more diluted and tainted, more diluted with less of the organic state memory flow, the organic way of being. Adam C is even more diluted or mutated than Adam B. And now Adam C is also mutated or genetically altered or modified in such a way by being introduced or having the double helix that has been introduced to Adam C, or the double helix that it pairs with, however you would like to say it, of inferiority. Okay, this second line will be known as Eve, the replica of the organic Adam A. Like I said, Adam instills an inferiority code that lacks boundaries, confidence, original knowledge, coding, so that Adam can dominate Atom C. The organic nature plus the mutated, tainted, polluted, false coding within Atom B, him replicating that and adding another variable to it. You got to listen to me. Of inferiority. See, superiority cannot think it exists if inferiority does not exist. So therefore, another variable must be introduced to separate the two, the line, the splitting of the period, okay? From him, Adam B took from its ribosome or of the organic flow, but maybe it locked down a couple of strands. Maybe it cut those off. So Adam C would not retain the knowledge of organic Adam. No, nothing. Start out fresh. That's what Adam B did to Adam C. Took a ribosome, or maybe Adam C instilled an extra ribosome that by default, we're still talking about frequencies, we're still talking about sin waves or sine waves, we're still talking about DNA, we're still talking about the X chromosome. Adam B is incomplete. He is an XY chromosome. Now let me show y'all how they really look. Oh fucking A, bro. X Y chromosomes. Okay. And I know I didn't draw those the best, but pay attention to them. Adam B in his mutated state is an XY chromosome. Okay. Because he is now mutated and incomplete. Therefore, Adam B is missing a leg. Keep up with me, good people. Notice the symbols, okay? They're not different. They look a little different, but this is how I made them, okay? Adam XY, aka Adam B, is mutated, therefore missing a leg. What would be that leg? The knowledge of the before in the organic state. That's the leg that's missing. This is a piece of the timeline Adam B is missing. Adam C is now created from Adam B's ribosome, but Adam B's ribosome is tainted and polluted. Not only that, Adam B made sure that Adam C lacks the leg, the knowledge of the organic state, to know that at one point in time, there was no superiority and inferiority, but Adam B must establish to Adam C that he or it is in fact superior. After Adam, known as Adam 2 or Adam B, Eve or Adam C is created with submissiveness. So, because of her lack of the missing link, the missing piece of timeline, the organic state, the knowledge thereof, because of her lack of that, she is now created with submissiveness. So she hangs on to the every word or vibrational frequency, which is a broken frequency, sin waves of her create her. Etymology, create her or create or. Okay. Create her. Where is it? It's right here. Create her or create or. Or being the variable. I pray I'm not losing people right here, bro. Listen. When you get in advanced trigonometry, I believe it's the if-then theory, but then you are introduced with or, with an alternate path of opinions or facts that could one debunk the if then the original if then theory, or it will further prove with extensive facts that back up the original if then theory. But look, listen. I'm gonna slow down right there because I'm not trying to fucking lose nobody. Because this is what your girl do. This is what the fuck I do. So Adam C, aka Eve, is created with submissive gene codes, inferiority, so she can hang on to the every sin wave of her creates her or creates or, and feels the need to prove one's self. In the organic state, there was no self. There was just hey, where have we established self, aka a body, because the serpentine path of the deviation off the divine flow, serpentine path, and then a replica of it, which therefore establishes the first double helix strand that composes the human body. So now Atom C has to prove herself. To Atom B, which she thinks Atom B is Atom A, the original, the organic. She don't know shit. She just got created. Atom C just got created. She does not know or is not aware she has been deceived. Keep up with that part, right? We're gonna table that, set that to the side because I'm gonna come back to all of this. Adam C is deceived. She thinks that Adam B that creates her, is the organic Adam, the original, and that everything that Adam B or Adam B tells or speaks to Adam C is that. There is no reason for Adam C to doubt it. But this is because when Adam B created Adam C, he left out that he was not the original. He also left out key details and used Adam C, aka Eve's primitive lack of the knowledge of the organic state to slander Atom 1 because the question did. He knew the question. Adam B knew the question would arise from Atom C. It's natural to be curious in the state of body self. The curiosity comes from the body, the double helix. Okay. The ribonucleic acids, the questions will arise. Curiosity will arise within the flesh. Is it not curiosity that makes us do the most stupidest things and take the stupidest gambles and leaps and shit? It's the human body. It's not our organic state or spirit. It is the human body that is flawed. Double helix, ribonucleic acid, mitochondrial DNA, okay? X, Y. Why? That is the question. So he knows that Adam C will become curious, and a couple of questions are going to peak because he still can't deny the fact if he's saying he's the original, the question will arise, well, who will be the second? Am I the second? Well, not really. There was another I created, but that one was faulty. So he lies and slanders. So Adam B lies and slanders and defames Adam A to Adam C, putting her or instilling another false code of competitiveness, the competitive gene code, along with the submissive code, along with the inferiority code. But there's other coding that has been instilled within Adam C. What would be that? Deception, because deception is now in Adam B. Deception was in Adam B because it's mutated. Because it's mutated. The deception was in Adam B when Adam B created Adam C there and replicated himself and just removed a couple of things, cut a couple of things off, and instilled a couple of false coding and narratives, right? Right? So deception is there too. He was deceptive before he even created Adam C. So that the memory from his gene code replicated into Adam C, unbeknownst to Adam B. But why wouldn't he know this? Why wouldn't he know that? Hold on, let me show y'all. Therefore, the memory of all this is scrambled. The signal is scrambled from this. Waves, okay? Okay. So, at some point in time, curiosity, mind you, Adam C is curious. The flesh is curious. It wants to touch, see, feel, touch, taste, all those things. So as Adam C begins to and continues on with Adam B, the greatest thing in the world, she begins observing. Curious minds always ponder. She begins observing Adam B, Adam B's actions, behaviors. Sometimes Adam's mask of deception may slip, where even though he has Adam C, there's still something quite on his mind. He doesn't seem to be, Adam B doesn't seem to be here. Adam C may get questioned, may get a little curious and say, "You seem to be out of sorts. You seem to be in another place." He tells her it's nothing. But with her curiosity and deception instilled in her inquisitiveness, she knows it's organic Adam A. She sees his mask begin to slip even more. She begins to realize that, and let's say Adam C watches Adam B actions, and he does a lot of deceptive things that doesn't appear to be quite organic, natural. Does a lot of deceptive things. She doesn't know that this is deception, but the deception within her, it pings. It piques the deception in her when she sees deception, even though she doesn't know what it is, because the deception coding is still within Adam C. So as she continues to watch Adam B, the things that Adam B does not add up. And she knows something inside of her. Would it be the organic? The polluted, diluted, tainted organic state is still in Adam C, it's still there, but it's a lot less diluted than Adam B or Adam A. But something inside of Adam C tells Adam C that Adam B, something is up. That Adam B is not telling Adam C, and Adam C suspects it's Adam A. And Adam B continues to make deceptive moves. Everything that Adam B does is deceptive because Adam B is hiding, wearing a mask. Yes.
Hey, when y'all come up here, can you bring my charger?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'm about to conclude this. So, Adam C, I think anger is introduced, mind you, with superiority and inferiority false coding. We get anger, we get sadness, these things come up out of the original coding of probably deception, fear, things like that, things that don't exist in the organic state. Okay. And then she watches Adam, as Adam C watches Adam B. Adam B, it dawns on Adam C that Adam B is a fucking liar, and Adam B is not the original. And it's not that she knows that she's ever experienced the original Adam A in the organic state. Is that inside of her, instilled within Adam C, there's still a piece of the organic coding, that inner knowing, okay? That tells Adam C that there is no way that Adam B is the original. The behavior doesn't add up, or add up. Everything that Adam B told Adam C about Adam A, that appears to be him. So I've been deceived. Is this what deception is? This is Adam C. I've been deceived. Is this what deception is? Because of the deceptive coding instilled in Adam C. She's not gonna say that she's been deceived, or she don't recognize or picked up that Adam B has deceived her, lied to her, created her with a false narrative, deceptive and false coding, and tried to exert his power and dominance over Adam C. She's not gonna say that. She's going to now introduce Adam B back to the organic flow. Now another variable on top of the original variable has been introduced. Now we have what is called the second alternate or linear path and or timeline. Okay, here we have the first organic state, infinite directions, infinite variable is introduced. Adam B bounces out of the organic state, creates a linear timeline. It's false coding and all of it. It's missing the original information before the variable was introduced. Adam C is in linear timeline. He makes, or Adam B, he makes or creates Adam C. And here, once Adam C realizes that Adam B is a imposter, a liar, deceiver, okay? Adam C then introduces another variable. This would be the fruit, or it would be the trapping of by a baby. The baby, the child, the replication thereof. See, this is what they don't put in the Bible, and this is how they don't link it. The baby trap. Along with the eating of the fruit, there will be the poisoning of the coding of Adam B. Mind you, Adam C has deception in it, because of Adam B. Adam C introduces the apple. That's just seeding. That's just another variable. Apples, when you think of apples, Johnny Appleseed, the seed, the child, the baby trap. Okay. That was it. Because just maybe, the baby will take Adam B's mind off of organic Adam A, the organic state and flow. So much so that Adam B won't be so zoned out, so sad, thinking about, and she knows, Adam C knows it's about Adam A. But maybe the variable that she introduces, aka the apple, aka the seed, the trap, will take Adam B's mind off of Adam A entirely, indefinitely. Remind you, this is her, where she was created. Or let's say this is where she was created, somewhere in here. And this is where the seed, the eating of the fruit, was introduced, aka a splitting, another variable that now splits this linear path or timeline into another one, because here we have now created another variable, which will be a seed, a child. Okay. Now that we have two or more variables, now we introduce the variable of what we would know as probability. And the probabilities or possibilities are endless as to how many times the linear paths can be replicated, but it doesn't matter. as much as the linear paths, as much as a variable is constantly introduced and creates another linear path that takes us further away from the divine path, the linear path, the divine flow, the divine state. All these timelines, you see how shortened this shit is? Shortened life expectancy, people. Not only that, do you see how far this timeline is? 7 times removed. 7 chakras, my good people. 7 times removed, okay? You see how much is missing, how much of the divine flow or the divine organic information is missing from this path, from this path? See how much is missing? You see how much space from the divine flow? That means that all of these linear timelines and paths, shortened lifespans, they are lacking a huge chunk of the organic state of flow of just being. When things just were, when there were no superiority and inferiority, right? Before variables were introduced. This is why numbers are important. This is why words are numbers, and numbers and words are nothing but frequencies, okay? AKA sin or sine waves. However you would like to call them, I'm going to call them sin waves. A frequency that, mind you, this divine organic flow and state of being, it just was. It just was indefinitely from beginning to the end. There's no such thing as the beginning here. It just is, and it just goes until the sin wave is introduced here. A frequency that this is the variable that was introduced, a frequency. What would that be? CERN, Large Hadron Collider. This is why we suffer from the Mandela effect around 2012, 2013. People start noticing that because what they did was shift us into an alternate universe and or timeline. They want to remove us so far away from the organic state of being. We are not inferior than the other. We are not superior. But unfortunately, there have been cells and gene codings that have been introduced, another variable that thinks it's superior when it's in fact anything that's missing the organic flow, the organic state of matter and being, okay, is inferior. Now, inferior does exist because they try to lock the God code out, the Higgs, using the Higgs boson. When they found it, they tried to lock that particular part of the genome of the double helix. They tried to lock. They tried to lock that. The God particle, the divine flow, memory, they tried to lock that down along with other shit. But all that did was create a mutated and inferior DNA strand. Inorganic, mutated. That's it, collective. So that's it for that part. I'm not going to go too heavy into that, but I will leave saying this. There is hope. The only way to get back, we can. In fact, get back to the divine flow. But the only ones that have access to the knowledge that the divine flow contains in order for us to get back there. This would be the higher realm. This would be the higher frequencies, the heavens. This would be the ethers, okay? And we started all the way down here. See how far removed we are now or were? When we start healing, we get on our divine paths. We create what is known as a cut through, a wormhole, a timeline jump that will allow us to jump from this so much inferior and polluted and mutated timeline back to the divine flow. And we receive all the coding that is in the divine state, organic divine state of being while we're down here that allows us, as we continue to climb up, create more cut-throughs, jumping timelines. You hear me? Cut-throughs. People ain't gonna like me for that, but that is the truth, my good people. Okay, so I got shit to do with my daughter. I pray that this helps somebody, anybody, my geeky, nerdy people, or anybody that may be a little interested in quantum mechanics and physics and how these things work. I can make them in a way where I can explain them to anybody that has never found yourself interested in this type of stuff. I can fucking create a story, a picture, a drawing, a song, anything where I need to be able to have people understand that when we're talking about spirituality, it's not different from religion. I just explained to people, I just connected spirituality, religion, quantum physics and mechanics, trigonometry, okay, biology, and frequencies all in one 50-piece segment, 55-piece segment, 5644-piece segment to show you that it was nothing for me for your girl to ever find the commonality in all these things and tell you they are not fucking different. They just what? They introduce variables or separations to make us think that these things are different when they all talking about the same fucking thing. I can put artwork and hold on. It's not the best art. It's crappy. You work with me. I just introduced graphing, a data chart, art, biology, science fiction, stories, frequencies, quantum physics and mechanics, trigonometry, all that. Introduce that to everyone. Short segment. This is 1, 2, 3. The serpentine path, the serpent in the garden, the creating of the double helix, where it really came from, how the existence of the body. Oh, now we're naked. Yeah. Inferiority and superiority. I just explained fucking racism here. One piece. Shit. Sorry, y'all. So, with that being said, I pray that this helped you wherever you are on your path. And your girl gonna come back. I don't know how long I'm gonna be out, but I will be out. Gotta return phone calls. Have to make sure that that's on because I made sure I charged them so it wouldn't cut off and then, have muted segment because this is very important for us to know. Because man, as above, so below, as within, so outside of us. We don't say so without. As within, so outside of us. As above, so below. Okay. I love y'all, collective. I hope y'all have a good rest of your day and keep on tuning in and tapping into your nerdy ass dual alchemist, your dual nature being of both high vibrational light and dark. And I come to you from the heart, even if I'm tapping into my dark side. And your girl will be back with another one a little later. We're going to get into some reads and we're going to try and lean more on a more positive read, maybe a love reading. We don't know, something to help you or bring awareness to you in your life. But if a karmic read or energy is dominant or present on my table, we just gonna roll with the punches. You know why? Because we can overcome any fucking thing by creating our own timelines or timeline jumping, creating our own paths, creating our own lanes, creating our own highways back to the divine flow. Your girl love y'all, and I'll see you guys a little later.